Teenage hormones are so freaking annoying. I am so glad that this happened to me when I was in college and not middle school or high school. Because if my nose started out looking the same color as a Snickers bar and I randomly show up and my nose is as white as snow, as white as a tortilla, and as white as copy paper, and people are asking me, ew, what happened to your face? What if that was my 13th reason? Hey all, how are y'all? It's me, Aloha. Hey guys, and welcome back or welcome to Elements of Aloha, where I talk about things that interest me, affect me, or am very passionate about. And in today's video, I'm going to be telling you about this stupid pimple that invaded my nose that I was so desperate to get rid of, I ended up almost ruining my face. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So back in December, everything was going great. I was taking plenty of photos, I was taking plenty of videos, and I had lots of video ideas that I wanted to plan. But it's always those days where you have something big planned and you know you need to record yourself on camera, or you know that you're going to be photographed, that you'll just have those stupid, nonsensical, unwanted pimples invade your face. And not only do these things invade your face, but they make sure to make themselves known that they're on your face. So they wouldn't just like pop up on normal places, whether that would be like smack dab on your cheek, right in the middle of your forehead, on your nose, on the top of your lip here, in the middle of your eyebrows. Always, they want to make sure that they've announced that they arrived there and that everyone else can see these pimples. So around the time that I was planning to do like a mini series on a show that I really enjoyed this past summer, I had this one open pimple invade my face, and the first one that it popped up on was my forehead, and you can kind of still see the evidence here. So I tried doing everything. Like at the time, I didn't have enough money on my account to start ordering pimple patches, and it's not one of those ones that it just stays on and it doesn't really bother you. It was literally the ones where it was so bad and it was so swollen that if you tap it, you could feel pain. It was bad. So when it was, I guess, quote unquote, ripe enough, finally, my mom decided to relieve me of that pain, even though it was painful, and she popped it. And so I was thinking, all right, this thing is popped, it's gonna go. Nope, it came back for more and more and more again.
You can't get rid of me, bitch!
Even though it was a lot of content that came out of that thing said, I'm a survivor, I'm not gonna give up, I'm not gonna stop till I scar your face. Definitely, it did. So that thing was at least popped 1 or 2 times. I'll start putting the evidence here. And that thing was not giving up. So at this point, it was I think 2 weeks after that pimple came. And so I was on the phone with my aunt, and then she was telling me, oh, like, I have had experience with those pimples. Like, I've known people with experience with those pimples. She was like, oh, take a push pin. Wait, no, not a push pin. What's those things called again? I had a brain fart, y'all. It's a safety pin. But yeah, she was like, take that and stab that thing. And I was like, oh no, I know this thing is gonna scar. I'm not gonna ruin my face like that. So I just ended up putting a lot of hot water in that thing, and eventually I was able to finally suppress it and scoop out anything that was there. So I just ended up having a whole open wound on my face, and then it eventually ended up drying up and never reformed again, but it made itself known that it was still on my face. So moving on, around that time where I had this nonsensical huge pimple smack dab in the middle of my forehead, there was another pimple that came there, but it wasn't the ones where you can just like pop and get it over with. It was one of those ones it's a pimple, but it feels kind of like a scar that you can scratch and just like get rid of it. So I felt it on my nose. And of course, since pimples cause you a lot of discomfort, sometimes I would just like dig my finger into the pimple like that. Of course, which is a no-no, because a lot of the times I'll have some pimples on my face and that will just lead to more hyperpigmentation on the right side of my face especially. But once I decided to get rid of that thing, guess what comes? Dun da da da! Another black spot. So once I saw that I had another black spot on my face, I was like, okay, I'm about to skincare it up more than I usually do. So I was taking my toner and I was rubbing it expeditiously on that black spot smack dab in the middle of my nose, but nothing was happening. I was like, I thought toner was supposed to even out your skin, and it's not evening out my skin at all. So around that same time that I had this black spot on my nose, I also was dealing with plenty of canker sores in my mouth. And I noticed, of course, if you put hydrogen peroxide on your canker sore, that it ended up shrinking and going away. So I thought, hey, maybe that might have the same effect on my nose. So I decided, don't try this at home, kids. Okay? Caution, do not try this at home. So I decided to look up, hey, since I'm so desperate to get rid of this black spot on my face, can you put hydrogen peroxide on a black spot? Or does hydrogen peroxide help hyperpigmentation? I googled that. And from the little sliver of text that I got, it wasn't one of the ones that you got like a big black box on it. It was one of the ones where it gives you links to answer your question instead of like flat out saying it. And so from those results I was getting, it seemed like it could definitely help. So I was like, all right, okay, bet. So I started using hydrogen peroxide at least like twice a day on my face. So I'd put it on in the morning and then I'd put it on right before I go to bed. And so for the first 3-4 days that I was doing it, everything seemed fine. It seemed fine and dandy. The next thing you know, around day 5 comes, I start to put the hydrogen peroxide on that black spot because it was getting tinier. And next thing you know, not only was the spot turning white, it was also near the top of my nose that it started turning white. And I was like, the same thing happens when canker sores come in contact with hydrogen peroxide. Maybe that's normal. Maybe it's gonna clear up the next morning. Or so I thought. Until this monstrosity happened. So I was like, damn, I really ruined my face all because my toner wasn't doing its job immediately. So I started Googling, hey, like, is my color gonna come back? Because, hey, I do not want this spreading all over my face. So then I decided to get one of my night creams. Yeah, this one right here, the Palmer's Skin Success Vitamin E Anti-Dark Spot Fade Cream. I thought this was gonna somehow bring my melanin back. So I decided to put that on my face for the first night, and it just ends up doing the opposite effect. It did not help at all. It didn't make it worse, but it was neutral. It didn't do anything. So as the days went on, my nose just ended up getting lighter and lighter. It was literally trying to give my light bulb and copy paper a run for its money because it was so white. And here's what my nose looked like for at least the next 2 weeks. So to avoid questions and to speed up the healing process, I just ended up putting a lot of antibiotic ointment on my face, as well as covering up my face with my Fenty foundation. But since wind and my eyes do not mix, anytime while I'll be walking around with makeup, all of a sudden lots of wind will blow into my eyes and it'll make my eyes start watering. So you know those times like where you yawn or a lot of wind gets in your eyes and people are like, oh my gosh, are you okay? What happened? It's the wind. The wind doesn't like me. The wind was assaulting my eyeballs and it led to me looking like I'm crying. So those days where I decided to cover it up with foundation was ruined because there was a lot of tear streaks down my face and it ended up washing away all my hard work. And the worst part is I didn't have any makeup with me to touch it up. So eventually I was like, I'm getting too tired of this. Like, I know the wind does not like me, so I'm just gonna stop putting this makeup on my face. And luckily, people ended up not saying anything. And that's one of the things I like about being in college. People will see something and just like not ask you about it. Unlike middle or high school, I remember something similar happened when I was very impatient with the pimple when I was in 7th grade, I think. And the next thing you know, people are like, oh my God, Elo, what happened to your face? Ugh. And the same thing happened to me a year later. Another stupid, idiotic people invaded, like, it was, I think, the outside of my nose in 8th grade. And so I was minding my business. And then one of my former friends in middle school was like, what happened to your face? So unprovoked, so rude. I was minding my own business. And then, now, oh, are you okay? It was like in disgust. Like, are you people well? Like, kids have no filter and they're so mean for no reason. But mostly it's like middle school. I think high school eventually, you know, you have some people that care and then eventually you just end up stop caring. I feel like once you survive an American middle school, like you can survive anything. High school is nothing compared to American middle school. But eventually, a month after my nose started looking as white as my pillow, my color started coming back. And then, hallelujah, hallelujah, my nose is finally back to how it used to be before. And definitely now when I use my toner, it does even out my skin. But I would say patience is a virtue, and anytime where a pimple invades your face, sometimes you just gotta take the L. And if you have the money, buy pimple patches. But anyways, y'all, that is the end of the video. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and subscribe. And check out my last video right here. All right. Anyways, y'all, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.